Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have yet another PNSO figure, another brand new PNSO figure. As you can see, we have Cayden the Zuul. Now this is only the second Zuul figure that I know of that is out currently, and honestly I would say this is probably going to be the best version out once I pop this open and take a look at it. As far as the box art goes, it's your standard. You really never sway too far from what we usually get when it comes to the box art of a PNSO release. You've got the nice image of the figure again, the species name, the PNSO logo, all of that fun stuff over here on the side. You can see more of that sort of information, and the same thing, the exact same image actually on the other side. And then if we take a look up here at the top of the box, you can see a nice shot of the upper part of our Zuul. So as always, let's pop this out of the box and check it out. So first of all, we've got a poster. Surprise, surprise. We always get a nice poster with our PNSO release, and it looks to be apparently some dino toy photography is what I'm seeing here, I think. As we open this up, you can definitely see that's exactly what we've got going on here. Wow, the glare is killing it. But you can see a really nice image of the Zuul here, basically walking in what looks to be some sort of like a desert sort of setting, and it's definitely a really nice poster, but the glare is attempting to murder it right now. Definitely, again, a really nice looking figure in that poster, which we are about to see. And then we've also got the booklet, and you can see the booklet is your standard when it comes to PNSO, but that means it's going to be full of all kinds of fun information and images. As you move through, you'll find all sorts of really cool stuff, and as usual, a nice photo gallery of the figure contained within. And overall, these are always such a joy, such a fun read, and definitely a really nice addition to every single PNSO release. And then here is our Zuul, and man, that really is quite beautiful. First of all, I love that light wash that they have up here on the back of the figure. That just looks really nice, but overall, again, from every view that I see here, it does look really good. And of course, this is my first moment here kind of taking a look at it. I did pull it out of the box, but I try never to actually really get a good look at them until I bring them in here, of course, in screen, so that we can kind of enjoy them together for the first time. But the figure does look really cool. I'm actually quite psyched to get a closer look at this one. Definitely a nice welcome addition, if you ask me, after having so many theropods come out from PNSO recently. It is nice to get a species like this. So let's go ahead and jump straight to a closer look at it and check it out from there. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Zuul, you can see we've got a really nice look here for the head sculpt. We've got a nice pose for the face and everything here with the mouth open. Looks like the Zuul is maybe in the process of getting a bite to eat, or maybe it's just letting out some sort of a vocalization. I'm not entirely sure, but you can see everything looks really nice as far as both the sculpt and paintwork here of the face. You can see the nostrils sculpted out. You can also see the eye. The eye is nothing more than a black coloration, but it's so small I couldn't imagine them adding much more than that. But you can see a little variation of color for sure to the face, as well as some darker tones as you lead down here along the jawline. And you can also see some sort of like orangish brown tones popping up here and there. And if you look at it from the front, you can see the tongue is painted on the inside of the mouth, and the inside of the mouth in general appears to be painted, but it's so hard to get in there, and my camera doesn't want to focus. Yeah, there we go. We can definitely see it's painted in there, and it looks like we actually have some really nice, impressive detailing there on the inside of the mouth as well. But again, it's just such a small mouth. You can see the head fits there within my finger, so it is really quite hard to get in there and get a nice view of it. But if you look at it from the front here, and my camera focuses on it, you can see what the front of the head sculpt looks like. Really quite happy looking Zuul for sure. If we take a look at the opposing side of the head, again, everything looks really good over here. You can see the eye placement is yet again picture perfect. We've also got the spikes and stuff painted out with that sort of orangish brown, that same coloration that we see here on the underside of the lower jaw. As you begin to move back a little further into the body, you continue to see that here as you move along. Again, the orangish brown is definitely the chosen color for all of the armored areas of our Zuul. You can also see up here on the top of the head, we have some really nice paintwork with a variation of a green, but then there's also a nice light wash there that sort of crawls in and out of all of those scales, definitely adding a nice dose of realism to the figure, I think, giving it it kind of like that dusty, sort of a dirty little bit of a look, and just generally some extra color variation, which is always a great thing. And you continue to see that as you move along through the course of the back of the Zuul, you can still see, again, we have all of that same style of sculpt and paint moving along, lots and lots of variation to the scales. You can see, again, really big scales, really small scales. There is a ton of work that has gone into sculpting this out. You can also see some nice looking fine detail within the, spikes and stuff coming off of the side of the dinosaur. You can see some nice like cracks and crevices within those areas. If we move down here to the side, you see that same sort of, well, maybe same or similar at the very least, sort of orangish brown show up here along the side of the stomach of the Zuul. If you lead down here into the leg, you can see we do darken to a much darker tone than we honestly see almost anywhere else on the figure. Looks like almost a dark gray moving down, lots of armor. As you lead down through the course of that leg, you've got a pretty nice looking foot sculpt, though very, very small, which again, considering it is a Zuul, it's going to be expected to be pretty small. But as you continue to move along, you see all of the armor as well as the really nice paintwork. You can also see we transition very smoothly to a yellowish tone here for the underbelly of the dinosaur. As we move back here, you've got the rear leg. You can see how the dinosaur's taking a nice little step here. The leg's kind of trailing right there, and only like the tippy toes are pretty much touching right there. The toes are sort of leaving the ground. It looks really, really good. You can also see the muscle definition within the leg in both the thigh and calf region also looks really nice. And again, some more variation of color as we have some more of those sort of orangish browns back here in the back, but you also have this darker variation. Actually almost looks like it's a mixture of like a brown or a gray. It's really hard to decipher the exact tone of color they've used, but it looks really good. I think actually looking here, it looks a little more closer to a brown than a gray. But as you lead up here to the top again of our Zuul, you lead out here through the length of the tail. You have a nice little curve to the tail of the Zuul moving out. You've also again got the spikes leading out, as well as again that greenish tone with the nice light wash highlighting all of that scale detail as you lead out toward the club tail. And if you take a look down here on the side, you again have more of those sort of variations of browns here moving along the side of the tail as you lead out. And then here on the underside, you can see that we have those dark browns kind of leading here through the center of the club out there toward the tip, and then you have the orangish browns on the side of the club tail, and then those browns kind of lead back here along the underside as you head back toward the underside of the body. You can see the cloaca here, a little bit of variation to the browns in this area as well, again as you lead back to that sort of yellowish tone for the stomach. And look at how impressive all of that skin texture is here on the underside. Definitely got a little bit of a pudgy belly to him as well, so he's a nice, pretty well-fed version of a Zuul. And then if we turn it around and we take a look over here, you can see pretty much the same thing, except for the fact that the Zuul is now kind of turning away from us. It has the head turned toward its left. As you move along, you can see the legs are definitely in a little bit of a different position as the dinosaur is walking along. Kind of looks like he's actually in the midst of a left turn if you look at him, because his head's leaning that way, his tail's leaning that way, both legs on this side seem to be kind of, turning to head in that direction. Same deal with the legs on the other side. Maybe he just spotted something nice to eat over there and he's about to go take a bite, or maybe it's defending itself. I'm not entirely sure, but you can see moving along. Everything looks absolutely gorgeous on this figure. And just as I suspected, I would say that this is definitely the best version of a Zuul out. Not that we have many to choose from, but considering it is a PNSO release, I'm not surprised at all that it would be so beautiful.
And of course, not surprisingly, the figure is quite small for a size. Lengthwise, if you go from the snout here to the tail, you're looking at about 7 inches, maybe actually a little less, maybe closer to like about 6 3/4 inches, or around the 17, heading towards 17.5 centimeter mark. For a height, you're not going to have the best vantage point of it, but it's about just under 1.5 inches, or around 3.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A human being next to our Zuul, which you can very clearly see, again, is a pretty darn small figure. And then for another size comparison, and the comparison that most people probably want to see, and
almost looking like they were meant to be best friends. We have the Safari LTD version of the Zuul next to the PNSO version, and as you can see, not only are they pretty much the same size, but they're also kind of facing each other in a similar direction, making it look like, again, like a very cool family of Zuul just sort of walking along here. But if we actually put them up above, you know, and you kind of get a look at them, you can see they're almost the exact same size, so obviously they are the same scale here to each other, which, again, is a very nice size for something like this. So in case you happen to have the Safari LTD version of the Zuul, you'll definitely know what the size is for the PNSO version. Then for another size comparison, we have the recent PNSO Saurophaganax next to our Zuul, which you can see is very, very clearly a good bit larger, as well as the PNSO Albertosaurus here next to the Zuul, again just to iron out yet another comparison. And just in case you happen to have already acquired this model, here is the newest version of the Yanchuanosaurus, which I just reviewed yesterday next to the Zuul, again to give you one final comparison. So this brand new PNSO Zuul model is really, really well done. As you know, it's to be expected. PNSO always does a great job on their figures, but this time we actually have a figure that's a little different than what we've been getting lately, because for the most part lately we've been getting a whole lot of theropods, a lot of carnivores, so it is nice to switch it up once in a while and get something a little different, which we really have done here with the Zuul. And I feel like this one just honestly surprised me so much, came so out of left field, because they almost had us trained to think that the next dinosaur to come out would be another theropod, and in fact they had just unveiled the Yanchuanosaurus like right before this. So when the news had come out that we would be getting a Zuul, I was very excited about that, but at the same time quite surprised. And having it here again, I'm really happy that we did get one, because as I said, I would say it's probably the best version of a Zuul out currently, somehow even better than the Safari LTD version, which is really saying a lot, because I honestly did not expect to see that one dethroned ever. But this one is really nice. You've got beautiful fine detail as you move throughout the course of the figure, and a nice natural walking pose here for the model overall. But on top of all of that, they've done a very good job on the paint apps. The paint apps are really well done. PNSO, in my opinion, has never been better when it comes to the paint applications of their figures, and yet again they've done a very good job of applying a ton of variation of color to this, making it look very realistic and lifelike, but of course also adding in those trademark washes that they are so good at doing. And it seems like most times when it comes to species like this, they like to add that light wash onto the top of the figure to make all of the scales pop. And they yet again have succeeded perfectly in doing that on this one, making all of that detail look so lifelike and realistic. And, you know, the color scheme, even though it's not really anything flashy or crazy, exactly what I would expect. It wouldn't be flashy or crazy for a dinosaur like this. I think it looks as naturalistic as it gets, and pretty much exactly the type of coloration I would expect to see on this dinosaur if I happen to see it in real life. So overall, this is an absolutely fantastic release yet again from PNSO, and shocker, another very big recommendation from me. So if you are interested in grabbing this, I will include a link in the description to where you can do that on both the PNSO Amazon store and PNSO Aliexpress store. So make sure you check those links, go grab this beautiful Zuul, and also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.